Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel, wishing you a happy early start to this nice Wednesday morning. Oh baby, it's a big Wednesday as Bitcoin actually breaking down a little bit in the early morning hours, but coming down to the same levels that we're looking at from yesterday in the overall range. So this is very, very likely where things do get decided as we do see that short-term correction. Anyways, other than that, we just had a really good night last night. We watched Beverly Hills Ninja. If you haven't seen that movie, it's amazing. And actually a little bit of a funny story with that one is that when I was really, really young, I used to watch it with my dad. I've probably seen it like 10 times or some, front to back, and I would always ask about Chris Farley, and my dad would tell me that he's dead, and I said, how did he die? And by being young, my dad didn't want to tell me like the actual reason, so he told me that he choked on a chicken bone. And so I grew up like all throughout my life thinking that chicken bones are like super fucking dangerous. Anyways, let's just jump right into it right now. I apologize for a bit of the soda up right there. Yeah, we got a sale going on. Maybe we'll get to that at the end of this video and go over some details with that. Actually, significant details I'll be going over. And without further ado, let's just jump right into the actual chart. So first things first, yesterday we were looking at basically a range between about 27,250 on the downside versus about 28,050 bucks to the upside. You can see that Bitcoin's come all the way down to the bottom side of this range and simultaneously fulfill the gap on CME coming in from last Friday, the 26th of May closure. So in this case, we would be expecting a bit of a bouncy bounce right here, but this is a very pivotal moment for Bitcoin essentially, because if Bitcoin really does start to lose this level on lower term timeframes, I'd say it's basically below the gap, or on higher term timeframes below that 27,250-ish region, then at that point, yes, I'd have to switch on to being to looking at this as a pretty significant reversal right here, very likely coming back down to the bottom side of the prior range, somewhere in the low 26s. And at that point, it's seriously considering a major break to the downside, it very likely would go much further to the downside. But for right now, this is, again, kind of that pivotal moment. So if you are bullish, or if you're looking for this to be bullish, this is exactly where you'd be looking for the Bula's step in. And of course, this is also going to come hand in hand with the daily Gaussian channel that we were looking at from yesterday as well, showing the mean band basically about where we're at, or a little bit higher than where we're at right now as well, around that 27,250-ish region. So if Bitcoin can essentially recover that, especially on the medium term time frames, but even by end of day, that would still keep the Bula's hopes alive for continuing this current move at, in that sideways and upside fashion. As yesterday, we're kind of looking for that sideways and downside based off the lower and medium term timeframes. But this is kind of where you'd expect, again, those Bula's step in if they are going to indeed take over here. Anyways, yes, so we've gone through that. I expect that this video will be much on the shorter side. But let's just go over here to the HPDR ranges. And yes, this is a 4-hour time frame. This is the same chart that we were looking at yesterday. We can see that even the 4-hour range lows, on the blue 50% range lows, I should say, is actually, it's more like 27,220 if you want to be super exact, meaning that if Bitcoin can recover that level, again, that'd be a good first indication in the next hour and a half before this next period closes, that Bitcoin Bulas may indeed step in. But really, it's about the higher term timeframes here. As if this one does break down, it's gonna be a big fucking move. I'll just say that outright. It's gonna be a big fucking move. And of course, we do start to see 4-hour closures below this region. Big warning flag that yes, Bitcoin is probably on its way back down to the prior range lows, that Bitcoin was in for the past couple weeks. I mean, that's so brutal if it just goes all the way back down there, in the same territory that was oh so boring for nearly 3 weeks on end. But yeah, somewhere back down around about 26,300. Doesn't necessarily have to happen in the same exact closure there, obviously, but general trajectory is kind of where I'd be looking for in that case. By the same token, still showing to the upside about 28,000 bucks. That's the big number to beat for the Bula's there, 28 and 50 if you want to be super exact yet again. Let's actually just reference the daily. I haven't looked at this one just yet. Yeah, we do see that the daily average is coming in basically on the low of the day thus far, basically right around 27,000 bucks. So again, multiple things suggesting that, hey, if Bitcoin is indeed bullish, that was a correction. We should be looking for sideways and up from here. If Bitcoin really starts to break below, those numbers that we just spoke about, big problems. Anyways, moving on now, we should go ahead and reference stochastic momentum in line with these ranges here and see if anything's turning in the Bula's favors. And let's see on the daily. The daily is actually still going to be posture to the upside, assuming that today does close above 26,700. So big number right there. Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's like a super big number. Obviously, it's going to be very likely telegraphed well in advance if Bitcoin breaks below kind of where we're at right now. If this one's going to turn down, but we'd see, of course, daily stochastic momentum turn down if Bitcoin starts to close below that region, plus remain within the bearish control zone. But until then, it would still, again, the higher term timeframes, are mostly unchanged from yesterday to today. 12-hour time frame is going to be potentially turning freshly down with any sort of a closure below 27,336. Long time to go for this one, however, 3 hours, 41 minutes, and 51 seconds. So today, very likely a lot of things do get decided. So it probably is going to be a big day today, dare I say. 6-hour time frame, what do we see right here? Actually having a fresh cross to the downside, not a good signature right there, below 28,100. So again, that would be more on the bearish side, obviously. 4-hour time frame remains with its significant downside posturing as long as Bitcoin's below basically 28,000 bucks. So again, another thing kind of in favor of the bears right there. And then the hourly also going to be nosediving here as long as Bitcoin's below 27,560. So all of this adding up together, short and medium term timeframes are still, heavily positioned to the downside actually. So it is a legitimate consideration here to see a major break. I would still be going off of actual price closures in this case, but if that does happen, yeah, long way down, probably another, almost $1,000 from where we're at right now. Again, not necessarily in the same day, but over a bit of time. Anyways, yes, so we've gone through that. I did want to reference, did I want to reference this over here? Actually, we'll reference that at the end. But I did also want to throw onto the board here the old meme fucking patterns, which in this case, yeah, we still got that falling pizza going on, Bitcoin getting rejected from the top side of it. And well, I mean, what does this mean? I mean, it's still in play here, but usually once you get 3 tests to the top side, you really want that next pullback to turn into, the actual breakout. And, this would theoretically be that next pullback. But again, this is like why I actually am saying, today, in contrast to, the past couple of weeks, it's a very, very important one because very likely does get decided today. If you see Bitcoin start to, regain its footing, bounce around here a little bit, pretty damn good sign. Maybe coming into the end of the week here. Bitcoin, again, if it fails, it probably happens today, maybe at latest tomorrow, as Thursday typically is the most down day for Bitcoin, just especially over the past almost a year now since I've been tracking this data. Anyway, so we've gone through that. Do I want to reference this setup over here? Yeah, I guess we can quickly get into it. This video's, like I said, more on the shorter side. The 2-day time frame setup is still baking, as you can see. 2-day time frame BBW representing volatility, of course, is like deep in the single-digit percentiles now. So 357 actually as of this moment. Not closing tonight, I don't believe. Yeah, it's not closing tonight, but is closing tomorrow night. So again, if we do see this one start to go below the pivot, the 2-day time frame stochastic momentum pivot, again, another good indication that Bitcoin would be having a major leg down. Where's that current pivot? 26,800. So, if you do see, again, this is one of the reasons why I do believe that if Bitcoin does start to violate, the areas that we spoke about that are even higher than that level today, between today and tomorrow, then you're very likely to lose this one, and that move becomes a lot more severe to the downside. So again, kind of a big deal right now. Other than that, I did want to bring this one up as well. Let me just go over here to a different chart. Where's my Bitstamp chart? Nope, that's Coinbase. Let's go over here to Bitstamp. There we go. The 5-day setup, similar as well. It's been it's still kind of baking down here too. Is coming off of extreme low reads. Did get all the way down to like 1 and 39 percentile right there. I don't know if this one's ready just yet. I think that this one might base for a little bit of time. But again, this one is showing heavy downside on the 5-day stochastic oscillator. So it's not just going to be a 2-day signal, it's going to be a 5-day signal as well, really, is what I'm trying to say. And a 5-day signal does have an average move of about 42, around 40% over the course of about a little over a month on average. Standard deviation about 7. I do have this data also, divided up by long and short side. Maybe we'll go over that on the next closure because it's not super relevant just yet. But if the 2-day time frame signal fires off, very likely bleeds into this one. And at that point, that's at the point where, I do think that Bitcoin would be heading down, maybe as far down as like $21,000, at least 25, but very likely somewhere down around 21. Until then, again, hopes on both sides are still alive. But as you can see, if things do start to expand from here, it would favor the downside, just put it quite bluntly there. By the same token, to the upside, $35,000 would still be game on. In fact, let me just measure that out just to double check. Sorry, actually higher than that, significantly higher than that, somewhere maybe closer to $37,000, if that were indeed to happen. But again, one thing before the next, you can see how the lower term timeframes build into the higher term timeframes here. So I actually do think that this is one of those times where it's actually more appropriate to be mindful of the lower term timeframes, just because, well, they're probably going to spin off, and then go all the way up. Anyways, what else do we want to be looking at? We want to look at traditional marks really, really quickly. I actually didn't plan exactly for this, but why not right here? Daily on NASDAQ, looking a little bit short-term toppy. Again, pullbacks here are fine, and it can pull back, I would even say significantly, and still be fine. And probably does pull back a decent amount, to be fair. I wouldn't be surprised to see NASDAQ come back down to like low 14,000s. Does that help Bitcoin or not? They haven't really been trading together in these past couple of weeks, to be fair. Maybe we could go look at gold, as these two things have been trading a lot more hand in hand, to see if there's anything, a little bit more obvious. And gold actually looking okay for at least a short-term low here. Probably next short-term move to the upside. We did get the major pullback that we spoke about. Did it pull back enough here? Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence come off that last high. Comes all the way down. Let me just see where the moving averages are and kind of judge it from there. But we're starting to get jewel signals over here, somewhat. It's not super in there just yet, but probably good enough for a short-term bounce. Yeah, I'll probably be looking for this one to bounce back up, maybe north of 1980, somewhere between 1980 to 1992, something like that. See what the weekly looks like as well. Yeah, same thing here. Same bearish divergence, but already came down to the 21. I'd be looking for bounces here. So does that bode well for Bitcoin? I'd say a little bit on the better side for a short-term bounce. Yeah, and I don't really have too much to add on top of it other than that. Just perusing the monthly here too. It's the last day of the month, actually. Holy shit, I forgot about that. It's the last day of the month. But I don't think there's actually, there's not anything really super concerning about the monthly that I have as of this moment that we already haven't spoken about on yesterday's video. So we'll come back to that tomorrow. I think that'll be best for that. And then of course we want to look at Dixie, because I know people love this, love looking at this one as well. Still continuing to move to the upside. Still looking for about 105.5. I think it was is what we were looking for. Yes, somewhere to like the mid 105s region. Again, does that bode poorly for Bitcoin? I mean, we saw them both kind of rally up here together. Do they, I honestly don't think it matters that much. I think it matters a lot more if you're trading Forex. But yes, I'd still be looking for this one to continue here. So if you are on that side of the fence, well, this would be a bearish factor most likely for you. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off. Like I said, kind of a big day today. We'll come back at it tomorrow for the monthly reads. I suspect that, not too much has changed around here on the monthly. We can actually just briefly look at Bitcoin. The problem is we don't have like a bi-monthly or quarterly or anything above a monthly closure. So I don't, have too many concerns with it, or it's like, I can't really make too much out of this right now. Still remain above the 9. Would like to see it close above the 21. But either which way, it's not really super conclusive here. So I think I'll just leave it at that. We'll come back and do a big analysis on that one tomorrow. And in the meantime, I'd like to wish you the best. Forgot to go over it right here now that we're at the end of this video. I do want to say that, yes, we still got our sale going on, but there's actually going to be, oh man, how do I want to say this? Okay. Do I want to say this on video? No, I won't say it on video because it's not relevant to everyone and just probably confuse people. But for the quant program people, I will let you know about a big thing coming up, probably on Friday, maybe a little bit earlier, but probably Friday, in the chat discussion there. Maybe I'll announce it on video tomorrow when it's like fully ready. But for right now, just understand that it is coming. Watch out for probably an email that we'll set out, or not probably, like we will send out an email, obviously. And for anyone else looking at the programs over here, I will let you know, however, that the quant program will, not right now, but in about a month from now, in about 30 days from now, it will go on to a monthly offering, and that monthly offering it'll be combined with a couple other things as well. But I want to make sure that I have everything properly here. I just want to make sure, but I also want to make sure that people have an advance notice. And then yes, of course, you're interested in the sale right now, please do watch the promotional videos that accompany any one of the programs or products. They'll explain who they're for, who they're not for, so that you can make an educated decision for yourself. Don't rush into anything. As always, don't FOMO. There's no need to. There's going to be more sales in the future as well. It's all good. And I'll leave on that note. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.